Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Friday to you. Jeremiah, Jensen, Alex, Kirry. Oh, we've got the leaderboard up in front of us. We've got some live golf. Oh, no. A bunch of no names. I mean, sorry.
Jeez.
Max Homa.
No names?
No, but I mean the rest of the leaderboard is a bunch of no
I get
names.
what you're saying.
And then here comes Scotty Scheffler.
What, you haven't heard of Michael Thor Bjornsson?
What about old Billy Smalley? Craig Pavone.
How about Christian Bezuidenhout?
That's not real. You're making up names.
Look.
Oh, no.
Can you pronounce that?
Yeah.
I tried.
I think you got it with Ben Zudenhout. Yeah, I think you nailed it. So you've got all sorts of craziness going on round two. We'll be chatting with Bob
So
Casper.
now I'm Googling how to say Christian Gesundheit.
Look, that's about as close as you're going to get. So, oh, you know what, parents? I feel for you. It's Friday today, and if you're like us.
Christian Bezuidenhout. I messed it up.
So you
But I learned something
you
today.
even got Christian wrong, huh?
It's a Dutch name.
It's Christian.
It's Christian.
Oh, Christian.
Christian
Okay.
Bezuidenhout.
I got some of that crusty on my leg. Can you get some of that off?
Oh, my gosh. What is that?
Some crusty on. Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds
know.
like a problem.
I feel like you got to get some Sky Rizzy to clear up that crusty on.
Sky Rizzy. I can see you dancing in a Jardines commercial right now.
Nothing means everything. You didn't expect that coming out today, did you? No, you did not. That's what we're going to do. You know what? I'm committed
One
on
of these days
Friday.
you're going to turn on to TV and Alex Kirry is going to be dancing on a TV set, singing about Jardines.
Oh, I can go to the club again now that my plaque psoriasis is
Got his
cleared up.
A1C down.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway,
I don't even know the jingle. How does
all I
it
know
go?
is this. Don't act like you don't know it. Hey, all I know is this. Scotty Scheffler's in 7th place. Everybody else is kind of like finished
That's
up
all
for
that
the day.
matters, right?
He's 4 under through 11. And so, which means he's 4 under for the day. And Tony Finau back to 1 under, which is good because
Tony's going to make the cut.
that means he's probably going to make the cut, but he's got to. He was 2 over earlier, so he ran this thing back down again. And Tony, in true Tony fashion, is just he's hanging in, man, and he's figured some stuff out. So yeah, he's in 39th place at 1 under, which means he's going to make the cut. You know who's not probably going to make the cut is this cat right here, Rory McIlroy. I say this cat. He's just, we're watching.
He's at even.
Oh, he's at even. So the cut line is +1. So he's got some work to do. Obviously, if he wants to make sure. The mishits that are happening in this tournament are more insane than I've seen in a long time. All right. Plus, he's wearing Texas Longhorn burnt orange. I feel like he lost a bet to Scotty Scheffler having to wear that. Didn't Scheffler go to Texas? And Spieth did too, didn't he?
They're both from Texas, yeah.
Yeah.
Scheffler's from Dallas. Spieth went to Texas.
All right, so there you go. Hey, we're going to kick off the program as we always do with the G2G Bar shout out. Love the G2G Bar. Give it a shot for yourself. Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods. It's the best protein bar in the biz. And it's made right here in Utah. Wholesome ingredients in the refrigerated section at any of those retailers. Let's kick off the program as we always do on a Friday and every day with the cut. Let's jump in.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. TrajanWealth.com. So there's lots going on a day like today, and there are many things that we are looking forward to. However, not the least of which is, when you look at what this weekend is, you've got the NHL, and you've got
Do we need to hit a breaking news sounder?
Oh, do we?
I think we need to hit the breaking news sounder. We
All
got
right.
some breaking news.
All right.
Fire it up!
let's head over to the NFL rookie extension desk. JJ, what do we have out of San Francisco, my guy?
Big news. The 49ers and quarterback Brock Purdy are finalizing a 5-year, $265 million contract. That according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. Ooh. And he reports that Purdy's new deal includes $181 million in overall guaranteed money.
Okay.
Mr. Irrelevant, no more.
Yeah. Remember that? Remember the story? He was like living with a teammate for like 5 minutes, and then they're like, he's got a roommate. He can't even afford rent in San Francisco. And you're like, that's not what happened. He still makes $1 million a year. But also, on top of it, since then, he's gotten married. Okay, what's 5 years, 265 then per? What are we looking at? Because now it's not a fun story unless they go, that makes him the highest paid quarterback in the history of quarterbacks today. I don't know what the per year average is on that, but that's not 60. That's more like 53 a year. Oh, I mean, that's like
it's $53 million per year,
barely above Daniel Jones level.
$181 million guaranteed.
But $181 million guaranteed is
that means he's going to have $181 million at the end of his contract, no matter what. So
living in San Francisco, let's call it $74 million.
Right.
After Gavin Newsom takes his cut. Government do take a bite, don't she? Name that movie.
What is that?
Raising Arizona.
That's right.
JJ, so Brock Purdy gets his. Good for him. Is he worth that, by the way? I'm not saying that, like, because now the money's not insane. The money is, that's pretty standard. You're a starting quarterback at supposed to be contending in the NFC, and you've done, what, has he gotten to 2 Super Bowls or 1? 2
Purdy?
Super Bowls. Yeah, he's gotten to 2 and lost 2.
Is that true?
I'm trying to think. At least 1. He lost.
No, Garoppolo was in the other one, so he's only been to 1.
So he's been to the 1, but everybody knows he's been pretty darn consistent, and he's overperformed, obviously, compared to what 100%. Everybody thought he was going to be. He's a guy that deserves this extension, and quite frankly, congrats to the 49ers for coming up with the money, because that was like a big question mark. And on top of all of that, JJ, $53 million, I know it's crazy to say in 2025 or ever, is actually not insane quarterback money now.
No.
That's
pretty average.
Pretty middle of the road. And that is bonkers that we're saying it like that. But my question is, has Brock Purdy done enough to show you that he's the guy for the next 5 to 6 years in San Francisco? That's actually not a very long. That's not actually not a very long contract either. Like, I mean,
no,
$53 million. It's about what you should be paying for that type of production. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC right now when he's playing well. I don't know if all the weapons are still there with him, but they did just sign Kittle to the extension, right?
Yeah.
You still have Christian McCaffrey. Cross your fingers.
Right.
And I think that you're in a good spot. If you're San Francisco, Kittle, McCaffrey, Purdy is a pretty darn good feeling, and you're paying a ton of money because all those guys are now in the what Kittle's the highest paid tight end ever now.
Yes.
McCaffrey's already making more money than any other running back in the league because he's kind of Mr. Swiss Army knife in that sense. And so now Purdy's making a bunch of money. You're paying a premium, but you have really, really good guys at those positions, and you can say that you pay for those things. You pay for the privilege of being able to have the big names at those positions. And I think Brock Purdy's one of those guys that is going to take them. I don't even like the 49ers, but that's a good move for them.
Yeah, where are they going to find a better quarterback? They developed him. He got him to a Super Bowl. He's been terrific. He was a Pro Bowler. Only 3 years in, he proved a lot. Being Mr. Irrelevant, I think he's worth the money. If you're going to pay other quarterbacks, some of these other guys that are getting similar money, they have not accomplished as much as Brock Purdy has in his first 3 years in the NFL. So I know it's easy to look at him and say, I don't know, man. I just don't see it. He was Mr. Irrelevant. He wasn't the number 1 overall pick. Why are the 49ers going all in on him like this? Well, it's hard to find good quarterbacks in the league. And despite some injuries, Brock Purdy's been really solid, and he does a lot of things really well. I think what I really appreciate and respect about him is he has a great ability to read defenses, which has allowed him to be successful. He's not the biggest guy, doesn't have the biggest arm. He's really intelligent, and he really sees the field well, makes good decisions, and that's why he's been successful with the 49ers. Makes sense. I'm fine with the deal.
Okay. let's talk a little bit about some college football here. Now that I've got you all ready with some football talk, let's go to the college football side of things. Because we are in the moment we are at that time of year where we start to put together lists that are massively subjective. Although this one has a little bit more of a, it's pretty easy to kind of draw a line from success to why this person's on the list, right? So the top college football coaches for 2025, okay? When you hear a list like that, you think to yourself, okay, Nick Saban's not on the list anymore. Right, this is only the second year.
Alabama Jones.
This is only the second year we're
no
able
longer
to
eligible for this list.
We're able to say that, and then you start to think to yourself, okay, where is the huge amount of throw your hands up in the air going to come from when Kyle Whittingham's not on the list? And so here we are, and I'm here to tell you that despite the fact that you might think that, and that sometimes we see Kyle Whittingham get the short end of the stick. Kyle Whittingham is on the list of top 10 head coaches in college football this year. Number one, let's start at Kirby Smart. Deserved at number one. He's certainly he's got a multiple national championship trophy case.
Won another SEC championship. Yes.
They fell off
without a quarterback.
They fell off at the end of the year last year. Again, no
quarterback problem.
But falling off for Georgia was still being in the college football playoff and still being.
Yes.
Didn't they win the SEC championship too?
Yes, they did.
Okay, well, so, I mean, it's not just...
What does that tell you? He was able to win an SEC championship without a quarterback.
Over Texas.
Yes.
And Texas was also considered one of those really, really good programs last year in the SEC on a year that you don't have Alabama contending for that. That's a big deal. Kirby Smart at number one, no problem. He got 11 of the 12 first-place votes, by the way. Ryan Day is number two. Now,
it's hard to argue.
It is hard to argue, especially coming off of the national championship.
Unless you're an Ohio State fan, he hasn't beat Michigan.
Yeah, and look, there's something to that.
But he won a natty, so
won a natty this year. By the way, I can't tell you. Ask every other.
Dominated.
There aren't Georgia and Alabama get to this point where they get upset when they go 2 or 3 years without having a national championship. So not even being in the national championship game for Georgia, they get all pissy about it, and they should. Because there's an expectation. They spend a lot of money on the recruiting side of things. They win the NIL battles, all that.
Yeah.
And they have one of the best coaches in the game. And by the way, half of these guys on this list were under the Nick Saban spell at some point anyway. Not the least of which was Kirby Smart. Ryan Day's not in that group, but for as much as he has all the misgivings that Ryan Day has, and I agree with all of them. I don't really like the dude at all, but he just won a national championship, and he beat the number 1, the number 3, the number 5, and the number 7 teams in the country to be able to do it.
It was quite a run.
Just in that last 4 weeks.
It was impressive.
So, those last 4 games. Dabo Swinney at number 3.
Too high.
Feels too high for me also, considering also that the last time, we're coming up on the last time they won a national championship, which was 2018?
Yeah, with Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence? Was that 19 maybe? Maybe I'm even thinking maybe it should be even more than that. Maybe
2019 national championship.
19.
Yep.
We're coming up on 6 years of Dabo not winning. But it's not just that.
So it was the 2018 season. It was Does that make sense?
Yes. That's what it made sense to me. So
they beat Alabama 44-16.
Great, awesome, and they won. I think the Natty in
2016
with Deshaun Watson.
Correct.
So. You've got 2 national championships within the past 10 years. You should definitely be on this list.
I agree
with
that.
The reason why you should be lower on the list is because you're pretending like this new era of football is just disgusting. I can't do it. These transfer kids, man, they got no soul. And then suddenly he has to change his tune and go, you know what? They have Clemson DNA. It just took them a while for them to find it here.
And how much has he been getting paid the whole time?
$11+ million for the past 3 or 4 years.
He's bothered me lately.
Yeah.
That last natty was 7 years ago. And look, he was really impressive that they fought back and overcame some adversity last year and won that ACC championship game to get to the playoff. That was impressive. But I think there's better coaches on this list, including the next 3 you're going to mention.
And I would even say that the next guy, Marcus Freeman, who's number 4 on the list, I think he's too high. Not because he doesn't deserve to be on this list. He is, of all the guys on the list, and it does feature a lot of young dudes, he's probably one of the best, if not the best, young dude on this list.
No doubt.
The thing about it is that Notre Dame, in their success that they had this last year, until I see a string of even 2 or 3 years of them doing similar things, I love it because I think Marcus Freeman's going to be good for a long, long time.
He got him in a national championship game. That was
he really, and that's phenomenal.
And I don't think they were the most talented team in the playoff.
No,
not even close.
But I think that number 5 needs to be above he and Dabo. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think number 6 does as well. We'll get to him.
Steve Sarkisian is 5th.
Yep.
And let me just explain to you the amount of pressure you're under in Texas to perform and how rare it is that Steve Sarkisian has actually performed. The guys who came in before him, people think of Mac Brown as being a guy who won a bunch of national championships. I don't even know if he won one. He may have. Oh no, he did win the one with Vince Young in 2005. That's the last time that they won a national championship.
Yep.
And before that, it was even further back. Like, I'm telling you, there's not a program in the world that gets as much recognition as Texas does without doing the winning part. The Cowboys might be in that category, but they at least have 5 in my lifetime. No, they have at least 3 in my lifetime.
Yeah. Texas went from 1970 until 2005 without a national title, but they acted like they were going to win it every year.
No, and they pay for, and they recruit like it too. They have the facilities that bear it like they're there. I'm telling you,
and 1970 was shared, by the way.
The stretch of coaches that they've had since Mac Brown was pretty shameful. Not shameful, but just not good.
Forgettable.
Yeah,
is the word I would use.
And expectations were never met. Steve Sarkisian was asked to exceed expectations even with the bad dudes who were in front of him. And I think that taking them to the national championship game and then back to the college football playoff again the very next year and being in the top of a brand new conference for them is a really, really big deal. And I don't love to give Texas more love than they deserve. But I do think that Steve Sarkisian himself has overperformed compared to what Texas coaches do. Speaking of young coaches who have a lot of bright futures, Dan Lanning is one of those guys too. You think Dan Lanning should be above Dabo and Marcus Freeman?
I would have Dan Lanning number 3 on this list.
Why number 3? Because the reality is that they've won a lot of games, but they have not they massively underperformed in the college football playoff last year. They're number 1 all year.
Who did they lose to?
The national champions.
I would argue that they did not underperform. They got beat by the national champion.
I guess underperformed because they only got 1 game. And now they're trying to fix that whole situation.
Because the format sucks.
Right. They're trying to fix that whole deal.
Let's say Oregon had the number 1 overall seed and they started the playoff against Clemson and won that. And then they went to the next step and they were playing against the 4-5 winner, which would have been Arizona and Texas?
Yep.
How do you think Oregon would have matched up against a team they haven't already played this year? Right? So I think that, Oregon had a tough draw in the Rose Bowl, right? They lost to the national champion. Ohio State was on a mission and they got beat, and they got beat badly. Nobody else came as close to beating Ohio State. Maybe Texas did. Maybe I'd say Texas probably gave Ohio State a better game, right? Than Oregon did.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But I love Dan Lanning. I love what he's doing at Oregon. And what was Oregon doing before Dan Lanning got there? Despite all the resources they had.
they kind of
wasn't good.
Kind of wandering the desert
A little bit. They were underperforming, and he's taken it and he's ran with it.
Guys like Dan Lanning and Marcus Freeman too. They only have 40-something games under their belt total in coaching, right? So we have 40 head coaching. Like, you've only coached 40 games in your career. That's tough. That's tough to say, hey, you're suddenly one of the best. But being at the big programs puts you in that conversation. Number 6 is Lanning. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I do think he should be above Dabo and Marcus Freeman, but I don't think he should be above Sark.
Okay.
Kalen DeBoer at 7. This, to me, is way too high also because it's just a guy who is at the biggest program in the country, and frankly, you would just as soon put him at 77 than at 7. If they go 9-4 again, he may as well start looking around for another gig because that's not going to be good enough for Alabama. It's not going to be good enough for Alabama. Great, you were 67-3 at NAIA Sioux Falls, and you took the University of Washington to the national championship game, but then you left immediately. We don't really know staying power of what you can do there, and frankly, we all know that
he hasn't stayed anywhere long enough for us to even be able to gauge it.
And on top of it, he's still playing with guys who were recruited by Nick Saban. right? And that staff.
Yeah,
so
and you could argue they underperformed last year.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I'm not sure he's in the top 10, to be honest.
James Franklin at Penn State, I actually think is too low on this list. Meaning,
Interesting.
I mean, he's won over 100 games at Penn State. He's 125 and 57. At one of the worst places to try to take over during its history that he did. He has overperformed, and frankly, I think that we all dismiss Penn State, and they got as far as they did because they just willed their way to it, and I think that takes coaching.
You just made me change my mind a little bit on that because I forget where Penn State was before he took over that program.
And he was asked to do the impossible, and he's actually.
I mean, Bill O'Brien was there previous to him,
yeah,
right? But
not good.
I mean, James Franklin had to take over a program that had a stigma with it at the time.
I think when he took over, they were still shorted.
They were still dealing with the fallout from the horrible situation, and it wasn't easy for him to go in there and take that job and to have the success that he's had. I watched Utah take on his Penn State team in the Rose Bowl. I saw it in person. That team is tough. They're well coached. They were really good, and I think that it's tough when you play in the Big Ten and you can't quite get over the hump against an Ohio State or a Michigan, and you're judged accordingly. That's how it is. That's what you sign up for. But what Penn State is doing right now consistently each and every year, and for them to get as far as they did last year in the playoff was pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
James Franklin is doing a good job. He is a top 10 coach in the country.
Let me roll this out because James Franklin is number 8. The 9th coach on the list is Kyle Whittingham. Now, Kyle Whittingham has the second most wins of all these coaches on this list. Dabo Swinney is the only one who's got more wins than him. He's got 13 more wins over his career than Kyle Whittingham does. Kyle Whittingham's 167 and 86 all time at Utah. Obviously, he's been with the Utes for 20. It's his 21st
First
season.
was 2005. His 21st.
It's going to be his 21st season this year, and he's tied with Mike Gundy as the second longest tenured coach in the at the same school. Kirk Ferentz, by the way, and Mike Gundy. You will not sniff any of these guys anywhere near this list just because of the tenure side of things. You used to mention those guys sometimes, but those guys have fallen off.
Yep.
Kyle Whittingham had the year that they did last year, which was the worst during his time that he's ever been the head coach here. But I will tell you, the reason he's on this list is because everyone knows that it's not going to last, right? Everyone knows.
That's how much respect he's earned.
That it's exactly right. So there's 2 Big 12 coaches on this list. Number 9, Kyle Whittingham. And I thought this was a great nod for the Big 12 and somebody who should not be overlooked. Matt Campbell at Iowa State.
How is that? I mean, that program had never won double-digit wins in a season until he got there.
And he's done it twice now, including last year, where he has by far the most wins in program history. He had 11 wins this year. Matt Campbell gets overlooked a lot because it's freaking Iowa State, man. And that Iowa State may as well be Utah from a little while ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could be forgettable, or you can just put things together and people just anticipate, oh boy, you know what you're going to get with this Iowa State team? The best defensive backfield in the conference, which is what they've produced a lot of times, and you'll have a rock steady head coach, and you'll have a really good defense, and whatever offense you put on the field, they're not going to be superstars. Looking at you, Rocco Beck, you're not a superstar, but you know what you do? People talk about you because of how good your coach is and how good that program is. So kudos to Iowa State. You could even throw in, if you're going to throw in coaches from the Big 12, you could maybe, who else deserves a little bit of recognition?
Kalani Sitake.
Maybe, do you think Kalani's done enough?
Absolutely. What BYU did last year? How many NFL draft picks did BYU have last year?
0.
How many all Big 12 players did they have?
1. Or I think 2, actually, no. With
if you want to include special teams.
Special teams, then you're going, yeah.
Non-special teams, first team all Big 12 players, how many did he have?
The 1.
Okay. And they were one win away from the Big 12 championship game. They got to 11 wins last year.
Mm-hmm.
Kalani is doing a great job, and Kalani needs to be in the conversation. Do I think he's top 10 yet? No, I think he needs to get to that Big 12 championship game. He needs to have that championship on his resume. But he should be in these all receiving votes category, guys, and he's not. Has he accomplished more than Kenny Dillingham?
You know, I was going to say...
Shouldn't he be ahead of Kenny Dillingham?
Kenny Dillingham, but you know what? The list already
Lance
decided...
Leipold?
Lance Leipold to me
I'd
is
take Kalani.
overrated.
I would take Kalani.
Like, honestly, it's
I'd
freaking
take Kalani
it's
over Bill
Kansas
Belichick.
football, you guys. Come on. Why is Bill Belichick on the list?
He hasn't accomplished anything in the college game. He definitely shouldn't be on there right now because I don't even know if he's going to coach a game there. Things are getting weird.
What do you mean?
We don't have enough time.
I know.
We're
I
up
wish
against
we
a
did.
break.
I love it. I love the drama there. It's like so fun. People, some guy was filming them walking out of something. You let your daughter wear this in public, Bill Belichick? It was Jordan Hudson wearing some awful jacket that she's trying to be cool with, and it was like hanging off of her whole body, and like it looked terrible. Crazy. All right, good for him. Him and Mark Davis are like, how old's your girlfriend? So I got you beat. I got you beat, dude.
Oh man. 70-year-olds comparing their 20-year-old girlfriends.
Call me when she's under 25, buddy.
Gross.
Okay? Yeah.
Come on, guys.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we've got some stuff to jump into. It's a fun Friday here for us. Bob Casper, we're watching live Xander Schauffele just go to 2 over, and he's probably one shot off of the cut. He's only got 5 more holes to improve his situation. Everybody mishandling this course in some way or another, with the big names across the board still kind of struggling. So we'll get to Bob and get his thoughts out there from Charlotte at Quail Hollow at the PGA Championship. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This PGA Championship update is brought to you by Mountain Land Supply, Zions Bank, Black Desert Resort, Hoops Vision, and Siegfried and Jensen. Now, here's Real Golf Radio's Bob Casper.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, man. This isn't good for radio, but you should have seen that shot that Max Homa had on 14 today. My goodness. It is good to be able to chat golf majors, and, of course, it's awesome to have Bob Casper on the call sheet here for us, because anytime Bob comes on, Real Golf Radio, he and Brian Taylor do a phenomenal job. He and BT, of course, in Charlotte covering the Quail Hollow edition of the PGA Championships. And yeah, hole number 14 is it's a dramatic hole because everybody's driving the 14th, or at least trying to. Scotty just put it into the bunker right next to it. But yeah, you had a tap-in eagle from Max Homa today. Everybody on a day where people are misjudging this course, it seems like left and right, Bob. It's pretty fun to see these guys going at that flag on number 14 on that par 4.
Yeah, most of these guys have all played this golf course many, many times because of the Wells Fargo, which is now the Truist Championship. But yeah, it's a straight up. You go at it with driver, and even if you miss it out to the right a little bit, then you got a little pitch or you got a bunker shot, and it turns and it goes from an eagle to a birdie hole. But it's fun to watch, no doubt about it.
How serious should we take Vegas at this point? Do you think he can get this done, or are you still looking at the board thinking there's some big names that are coming after him?
Well, I think there's big names. There we go. I don't think the big guys have really started yet, and
yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
So as you watch this and you see a bunch of names at the top of the leaderboard that we're not. Yeah, go ahead.
My phone was messed up.
No, but, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. Johnny's playing some really good golf. He's won 4 times on the PGA Tour. He's won in the last year or so, but I think this is the first time that he's ever held a lead after an opening round. He's had to sleep on that. He's going to have to sleep on it after 2 rounds. He got to 10 under par and then made double bogey on the last hole. So I think there's more of those in. Not trying to force it on him, but I think maybe, it's going to be tough for him. Maybe he's going to have to hold down all of that stuff that guys do when they're not familiar with being in that position. And, Scotty, he's kind of lurking. I've been saying he's just lurking. Rory's getting to where he's he's back inside the cut line, and this is a golf course he owns the course record on, a 62. A lot of the guys. It's interesting that a lot of the guys are going to be missing the cut, like Ludwig Oberg and some of the other top players. So I don't know. It's really kind of a weird PGA Championship, almost kind of like a little snoozy right now because of the guys that are leading and the guys that aren't in the mix.
But I'm seeing guys miss-hit so much, it seems like, or not even miss-hit. They misjudge the length that they need. A lot of guys coming up short on a lot of these holes, and then they get around the green, and they blast that. They think that ball's going to bite a little bit more than it does, and it runs past the hole further. And I don't know. Maybe it's just, I'm glad you're kind of affirming that because it feels like everybody's a little bit wild right now around these greens.
Yeah, it's the inconsistency of the conditions of the golf course. The golf course from tee to green is really kind of soft, and so you're kind of trying to not necessarily hit down on the ball as much and that kind of thing, and then you get it. You hit a shot into the greens, and then the greens are really firm, and the ball bounces and it goes past the flags. Guys are hitting shots to pin high, and the ball's not gripping. They're not, and they're thinking that, or the thinking is that because the golf course is kind of soaked. The greens should be soaked too, but they have the sub-air system, and the sub-air system pulls all the water out. And the PGA of America is really good right now at keeping those greens really kind of firm. So it's really kind of perplexing the guys, for sure.
Your thoughts on Scotty Scheffler so far, fighting back into this? He just hit a great shot out of the sand. Was that on 13?
Yeah, it's on 14. It's on 14. Drivable,
on 14.
Got within a foot there, yeah.
So he's like a foot from the hole. He's going to make a birdie, and then he goes to the 15th hole, which is a par 5. And I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a birdie there. Now he's right back in the mix of everything. Mm-hmm. He's at 5 under par.
All right, see if we can call Bob back. We'll get it. I'm just telling you, every one of these guys, Scheffler, McIlroy, and I don't know who's in that group with them. They all went right into that bunker, but it's almost like they prefer it because Scotty just hit that insanely good shot.
That trap's not bothering them at all. That's a nice shot by McIlroy.
But even McIlroy, I mean, that's 9 feet away, which is he'll probably 2-putt for birdie there. Very different from a birdie putt tapping, basically, that Scheffler's got. And so it's and then look at that group. You got Schauffele, McIlroy, and Scheffler all together in the same group. And this is the kind of when I think when BT brought it up and then Bob brought it up a little bit too, is like when these guys are not used to having this type of their names at the top of the score sheet. But when Scheffler is sniffing around, that's where I think BT put it this way, Bob, yesterday. He goes, you start to feel feelings you've never actually felt before in a tournament because you're getting breathed down the neck by the best in the world, and they're running you down, and that's a big difference maker too.
Yeah, number one in the world. He's always looking back there, and these guys are always looking in their rearview mirror, especially in a major championship when he's kind of sniffing the lead. But what's interesting is two guys in Matthew Fitzpatrick right now, he's tied for second, and Max Homa, he's tied for fourth. Two guys that have not even that were up in the top 10 in the world have dropped down out of the top 10 into the top, like the 80th or higher in the world. But these two guys have kind of resurrected their games, and here they are right up at the top of the leaderboard. Matthew Fitzpatrick, of course, won the U.S. Open a few years ago in 2022 at Brookline, and Max Homa has yet to win a major championship, but a year or so ago, he was leading going to the final round at Augusta. So, those guys are guys that people know. But then you've got so many guys up there that nobody knows. And then you're starting to see some of the main suspects start to get into the mix.
Well, Max Homa's a great story because he's been struggling. I mean, to see him at 5th right now at 5 under. He's been through a lot. For golf fans that may not, there's casual fans and just listeners that may not be familiar with how much he struggled. What's he been through, and what has it got to be meaning for him right now to be in this situation where he's got a chance to win this?
So a year ago, he was on the Ryder Cup team. He was on President's Cup. He was the darling of the PGA Tour. Guys were loving how he was playing. He won a couple times, like in 23, and then all of a sudden, he like went off the charts. He signed a new golf club contract with Cobra for this year, and he was still off the charts. He was like shooting like almost 10 over par every week. Wow. And that kind of thing. And he slowly started working on his fundamentals. He was doing some swing change stuff, but he still started working on his fundamentals and stuff. And he said, I started seeing some positive aspects start to come back. And he said, I started to get excited. It gave me a reason to get up every day because he was having such a hard time. And here he is, shoots 64 today in the PGA Championship and tied for 4th. He was really excited about his play and really excited about his games coming around.
BT was talking to us a little bit yesterday about this. You guys get to sit next to the one of the Irish radio golf guys, and he was like, "Man, it must have been bonkers with the whole McIlroy winning it. Obviously, that's great for this guy's radio station and his career and all those things. And then you guys were finally able to settle back in with him this week, and he was like." I don't love this. I don't love the attitude that he brought in here, which was, I've been able to accomplish the things that I set out to do. Almost like this, like, hey, I made it type of an attitude. And you're kind of seeing his score reflected a little bit this week. And I know there was some concern, at least, that maybe he gets in there and doesn't put the foot down on the accelerator. He just like kind of coasts a little bit right now. Yeah,
and you know what? You got to think about what he's been able to do. He's kind of hit the peak in the game of golf, in that he's got the career Grand Slam now, and all that. How many years? 11 years that was piled on top of him, and was he going to get it done? But guys, I don't know if it's a letdown off of getting it at the Masters or whatever, but he took a couple weeks off. He played last week at the Truist Championship, kind of backed in a little bit to really in a top 10 position and that kind of thing, but was really never in contention to really kind of go after it. And then he gets here where he's had tons of success, and he shoots 3 over par in the first round, and. Golf is an interesting game because one week you can be on top of the world. You can be the best in everything, making history and all that kind of thing. And then the next week you're just kind of an also-ran. That's what my dad used to say. One week you're the best, and one week you're kind of an also-ran. And that's what's cool about the game of golf is it requires humility. It's a metaphor for life, and you get what you put into it, and that's what's really, really cool about this game.
Scheffler did birdie 14. He's now 4 back of the lead. So
and did Rory. Rory did too.
That's
as
right.
Well.
I shorted him on that 9
which was great for Rory because it looks like he's going to make the cut now at even par. The projected cut line 1 over. As you look at some names that may not be so fortunate, which one is the biggest surprise that's on the wrong end right now?
I think Ludwig Åberg. He's in the top 5 in the world player, and he won earlier this year.
He's so consistent usually.
So consistent. Played well at Augusta a year ago as a rookie. Played decent this year at Augusta. I expected him to really contend at this one, but I'll tell you what, he hit some really funky shots, and because of that, he's going to be down the road at +3. So I think he's probably the biggest one that's going to miss the cut.
Yeah, it looks Schauffele's battling right now. Spieth's on the wrong end, too, so we'll see. That's some big names that might not be here this weekend.
And JT, Justin Thomas.
That's right.
He's another one, too, because he won the PGA Championship the last time it was here, and he's won twice on this golf course. So that's another head-scratcher for me.
Yeah, he shot a 72 today. Oberg shot 75.
Yeah, Oberg has been so consistent. He's been so good right out of college that we were like, yeah, this guy, he kind of has this no emotion Scandinavian thing that we all went, okay, he's a robot. That's going to get you there. You know, you leave those emotions at the door and play, but he's been struggling. So Bob Casper, Real Golf Radio, he and Brian Taylor tomorrow morning right here on the KSL Sports Zone as you hear him every week. But, of course, at these major championships, extra fun stuff. They're going to talk about all of it. They're going to start fighting about lift, clean, and place. And look, there's going to be a lot of mud ball talk tomorrow.
We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again, and thanks again for all your coverage at these majors. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks.
There you go.
Thanks, Bob.
Bob Casper.
How lucky are we to get reports live from Quail Hollow? That's just so cool. I love these guys.
Or Augusta, or from the Open Championship, or at the U.S. Open. It's crazy. Yeah, these guys have a tough gig. Oh, and you know what? Scheffler just signed up with Rolex. Remember we were talking about the best NIL deals you can get, best endorsements you can get? Rolex, NetJets. Those are very PGA Tour.
Yes.
It's like these guys, oh, shoot, I got to wear this Rolex. Yeah, we're going to need you to. And it's like everybody's wearing like a Hewlett-Packard, like on their polo. It's like, you're not seeing that in the NFL. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, come on. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. We appreciate Bob and BT for giving us all those updates this week across all of the shows all week long. We'll take that break. We'll come right back. When we do, we've got tons to jump into. I've got a Would You Rather going into the weekend, so stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody! Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, thanks for being with us. Okay. So, by the way, next week on Tuesday, Hans and Scotty are going to be out on the road. Sound Sleep Medical. You can join their program right there in Sandy, 8941 South, 700 East in Sandy. It's Sound Sleep Medical, where they're going to be broadcasting Hans and Scotty live on Tuesday. Would you rather, JJ? Watching some golf this weekend. The F1 calendar continues. And these are all brought up because these aren't what we would consider mainstream sports, although golf is a pretty mainstream deal.
And F1 is...
Around the rest of the world, F1 is.
F1 has become bigger in the United States thanks to the Netflix special and some of that stuff.
Yeah, and it continually draws on a race weekend. They'll get 1 billion viewers of that sport.
That's significant.
And that's the kind of thing, like, cricket gets 2 billion during its like main tournaments. Like, you start talking about things that are watched the most in the world. Soccer is by far number one.
Right.
But then it's cricket. Okay. Golf is up there. It gets about 900 million viewers during a weekend of golf major because the rest of the world will kind of dip in certain ways. But like, you just don't have those same type of viewing numbers. So I was going to bring up a would you rather on secondary sports in terms of watching. Okay.
Okay.
Would you rather watch some mixed martial arts? Sorry, number 6 on the number 6 fastest growing sport in the world just grabbed my eye, and I'm gonna have to ask you. So, would you rather watch some mixed martial arts or some esports, competitive gaming?
MMA. Sorry, nerds. Sorry, nerds.
What if e-gaming is?
I'm
playing them out. They're
watching UFC, whatever.
They're playing the UFC game on their system.
No, hard pass.
Okay.
Nope, not watching people play video games.
How about a MMA or competitive surfing competitions?
MMA.
MMA or 3-on-3 basketball?
MMA.
MMA or the World Championships of Pickle?
UFC. I'm not watching pickle.
Pickleball?
Pickle what?
Pickleball, sorry. Hey, by the way, pickleball.
Dude, I can go down to the local park and watch people play pickleball. It's not going to be any better than the best in the world.
Listen to this guy acting like he's some 5.2 pro in pickleball. I don't know what the numbers mean, but I've heard people say them. There's a turtle on the green. Get it out of here.
Heck no. That's cool.
Dude,
it needs to bask.
You're a TV guy. The ball's
turtle
rolling
needs
toward the
to
turtle.
bask. You play it where
He's
it lies.
rolling toward the ball's rolling toward the turtle, and he zoomed out. We missed an opportunity there. Come on. That, by the way, what kind of turtle is that? It's like a mix between a swan and a turtle. What has science done? It's a very long-necked turtle. I don't know if it's a snapping turtle of some sort. Okay, so we're still on MMA, right?
Mm-hmm.
MMA or, let's say, a golf major. By the way, golf is considered the
Which
third. This one, PGA Championship.
Let's say it's like a UFC pay-per-view event.
Yeah.
I'm probably watching the UFC pay-per-view event over the golf. Yeah.
Okay.
The Masters is though that I was all in on the Masters.
You know what the 5th most watched sport across the world is?
What?
On any given weekend? Paddle.
What?
Yeah.
What is that?
It is the now we played this a little bit down in South America. It's basically a mix of it was pickleball
It's
before
pickleball for people outside of the United States?
Kind of. So it's a mix of tennis and racquetball. It's like a full court, but it has sides and a net.
Okay.
And so you're hitting the ball. You can hit that ball off of the side, off of the back over the net, things like that.
So if racquetball and tennis had a baby, it'd be paddle ball.
Yes, it'd be paddle.
Okay.
We played paddle. How about ultra trail running?
Still going UFC.
Could you
How
imagine
did
the
UFC
TV?
end up in this conversation?
I think
this
because
is not even
it's
close.
considered the fastest. It's considered the 4th fastest growing sport in America. Number 5 is trail running and ultra running. Okay.
Why would you want to watch somebody run?
How about competitive climbing? Number 7. Cricket, the T20, is number 8 in terms of the fastest growing.
If you're climbing for your country in the Olympics, I'll peek.
I can't believe
I'll peek in.
I can't believe you dismissed.
But I'm still going UFC.
I can't believe you dismissed 3-on-3 basketball so quickly.
It's boring.
Okay, how about
like the big three? Like which one? We talking about watching?
Yeah, I'm not talking about Unrivaled. I'm not talking about the Angel Reese League. I'm talking about like
We're watching washed up
Jimmer
NBA
Fredette.
players play 3-on-3.
How dare you? How dare you?
No thanks.
All right, we'll take a break here.
We're done. UFC won.
UFC got the win.
They weren't even in the same league. Come on.
They are not in the same league. You're right.
UFC
The
pay-per-view
MMA
events are massive deals.
They are huge.
Nobody's doing pay-per-view pickleball.
The tennis alternative is what they're calling paddle. Paddle. Pickleball's number 1 and paddle's number 2. So I'm just saying, I don't care what you're saying about what you'd prefer. The rest of the world prefers these other ones. All right? Well, let me throw this one in. How about flag football? Like Olympic flag football or MMA?
MMA.
Okay.
UFC, man.
He still is like, why doesn't
You shouldn't
MMA
have put UFC in this conversation. It's
Okay.
a different planet.
Okay. Why doesn't the MMA? Okay, are they thinking about doing MMA as an Olympic sport? By the way, have they ever thought about it?
They should, because I think there's plenty of guys from other countries that would be
Or would
interested in winning a gold medal.
Or would everybody fail the tests? You know what I mean?
I mean, would they make them wear the things on their heads to protect them? No one's watching that.
Yeah.
Nobody watches
No,
Olympic
MMA
boxing.
feels more like ancient Olympics than anything else does.
Kinda.
All right. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go right on the corner. When we come back, second hour of the program is going to give you Thurl Bailey. Big T is going to join us. We're going to chat a little bit about this NBA draft lottery.
Hopefully, he makes us all feel better about the Jazz losing the lottery.
That's his job. I'm supposed to feel better about this. Okay? So Big T can help us out with that and then give us his thoughts on how the rest of the West is looking in the playoffs here. So stay here, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.